Hello everyone. Wanted to go over the integration of Excel into AutoCAD and using the Excel master sheet index to make your life a lot easier. So first things first, I need to go into HLR standards, project-based directory, drawings, CD, and I'm going to copy the index sheet Excel import file and I'm going to put it into a temporary drive. Really quickly, you would copy this into your project directory, and I'm going to go outside of this project directory, go to drawings, and then also copy the project sheet index that I've started and formatted for you from another project, and we'll start from there. So one of the things we really need to start doing is providing all these sheet indexes and documents in Excel format. It's going to make your life a lot easier. Um, when you look at this example sheet, we've got 4 different tabulations. We've got an architectural sheet, we have a structural, we have an MEP, and a landscape. So historically, what we've been doing lately is we filled this information out in AutoCAD. It's very repetitive. It's not very intuitive. It takes a lot of time. So what I've done in the past couple projects is format this sheet for this specific project and sent this sheet out to my structural engineer. I sent this out to my MEP engineer, and I've also sent this out to my landscape designer. And about a week prior to our next issue, I will ask them to fill out all this information, specifically more for the sheet number and the sheet name. That way it takes a lot of the workload off of your plate and puts it on their plate. And this will be really, really time saving for you. Because you can focus really mostly on your sheet numbering and your sheet names, your dates, and your issuing. So just to break this down, you can see what I've got right now. I've got a column called number of sheets in the set. I've got an issue that's got the gray hatch to signify it's been issued. I've got C, I've got some A's for additional sheets, and I think I have an R maybe potentially for revisions, or C, excuse me, for changes. I also have a date. That's going to make life a lot easier if you need to just copy dates and just copy this down the cell. It'll be a lot easier. And then I also have a delta. But again, the biggest thing that you're going to be looking for is the sheet number and the sheet name from all the consultants. So what the process is normally what I'll do is I'll send out this entire sheet and I'll just ask them to fill out this structural component, this MEP component, this landscape. And then a master sheet index is generated on my end that I will copy all this information and have all this information gathered into one file. You'll notice on the architectural tab here on the very left it says number of sheets. This is just giving you a count of all the sheets that you're about to issue and gives you a good general count. And there's a reason why there's one there. So one of the first things we want to do is when we're looking at this, we don't want this one number to format at all. So we want to define a print area for each one of these tabulations. So for instance, this architectural, I want to be able to select this cell and make my way all the way to the very top left and go to page layout and print area and set print area. You're telling Excel this is what I want to print, but you're also going to tell CAD what you want to import because you don't want to import the ones. That's kind of a back of house number. You can do other information outside of this, including add new additional columns, narratives, deltas, things like that. But this is what you want to show on the sheet index. It's going to make more sense when you see exactly where I'm going with this. Once again, I'll go to this sheet, select it, go to page layout, print area, set print area. So pretty self-explanatory. So now in that vein, I'm going to go ahead and just save the file at the moment. Again, this is being saved on a temporary file. This will be on your project. And I'm going to go ahead and open up this Excel import CAD file that I've got set up already. This setup is basically showing a 30 by 42 inch box. It's got a lot of the nomenclature that you're normally accustomed to seeing on a sheet index. Added to the sheet, changed, not included, reissued, deleted, original, included in the original set, which is why you see this hatching and why you see this hatching. So in order to get this to format correctly and get this to look like it's all done with line work and make your life a lot easier, you first need to link some data in. So at the very top, you're going to go to the Annotate tab, and you're going to go to Tables, and then there's going to be a button called Link Data. Now, you're not going to see much of anything in here. What you need to do is create a new Excel data link. And by selecting this automatically, a new dialog is going to ask you to name what this data link is going to be called. I'm going to call this architectural. Click OK. And another browser is going to pop up. It's going to ask you, well, where's the file located? Click the three dots. Let's go ahead and save this on my desktop. Obviously, this would be on your project directory, and select the sheet index. I would name it with your job number, maybe call it the specific project name. This is very generic for this purposes, but go ahead and do this. Click open. And what you're going to notice is that link options are going to be open. So what you're going to see is that it's going to say, hey, well, which tabulation from that Excel sheet do you want to import with this data? So I named this data link architectural, so I'm going to stick to architectural. And the reason why I did the print area is because I wanted to link to a named range. If you select this, it's going to go to the architectural tab and look for only the printed area. So that means it's not going to select those ones and those back of house numbers that we don't want to show up. So we're going to click OK. Click OK. And click OK. You're not going to see anything happen right now. All you've done is just save this information. What you've done is save the link data form right now. So the next step is to insert a table. So what you'll want to do is go ahead and click table, and under the annotate table, right next to the link and extract data buttons. You're going to click table. It's going to open up the insert dialog table. Insert table dialog, and you will select, instead of start from an empty table, you're going to say from a data link. And then there's going to be a drop down, and it's going to look for the data link that you just named, which we named architectural. So all that information is going to come in perfectly. You really don't have to change anything here. The preview is normally not going to be available to you because it's such a long sheet. It's not going to be able to preview that. So what you want to do is just click OK. There's going to be a bit of a lag time, especially when you're dealing with hundreds of sheets, while AutoCAD processes all the Excel information, the rows, the columns, but it will eventually come in within about 30 seconds to a minute. That table will come in as one long form, no different than Excel sheets. But the beauty about this is that AutoCAD can break these tables and provide breaks in the table so you don't have to contend with a long sheet. So here's a good example here. You can see that my architectural sheet index is going to be beyond the bounds of what I want. So if you select the table itself, there's an arrow down in the center. This light blue cyan arrow will allow you, if you click it and pull up, you can see what's happening. It's starting to break your sheets. So now when you get to sheet A4.5, the next page should be A4.5A, B, C, 4.6, and yada, yada, yada. One of the directions right now is not correct, though, because normally we start from the right and work our way to the left. You can remedy that by going and selecting the table, and under this Properties palette, down here, where it says Table Breaks, there's a direction. If you select the drop down and select left, it's going to do what we normally are accustomed to in terms of starting from right to left. And then the rest of the battle is just formatting and getting it to a point where you feel comfortable. You can see what I've already somewhat done already is added some headers that show a little bit more information. So again, I'm going to select this, get that closer to right above these headers to kind of reinforce the issue date, the sheet number, the sheet name, everything that's associated with it. So there you have it right there. We've already formatted a table that looks pretty good. It's got all the information that's needed. I can kind of pull it in, pull it out, and I do have separate tabs for architectural, MEP, and structural. So you can see where I'm at right now. You can see I'm a little bit beyond the viewport scope here, so I might just double click in here and move it off just a hair to the right if we need to. Obviously I got to put the title block, but that is the process of integrating Excel into a CAD version of table. Now the beauty about this is if I wanted to change all these issues to be solid, I can do that, right? I can do that. Actually, I'm on the wrong tab. I should do it on the right tab, excuse me. Select down, come all the way down, and just say that the entire issue, the whole thing's been issued, basically. So I'm going to just Control D or Control Z, C and D, just fill in all these voids. We hit save. We go back to our table. Let's go back in model space, make things a little bit easier. You can start to see you're getting some pop-ups at the bottom right-hand corner that's saying that there's a data link that's been updated. It's called architectural. You can select this, click it, or you can select the table, right-click, and go to Update Table Data Links. It'll take a second, but information, let's say you change the sheet number, you change the sheet name, it's all kind of, it's like reloading an XREF basically. Now it's taking a little bit of a while because it's processing through all 150 sheets here, but normally it won't have much of an issue. Where you will have an issue is whenever you do have to insert rows or potentially delete rows from the Excel sheet. I recommend just deleting the table and reinserting the table cleanly. So you can see there were some issues here that the sheet was, even though this doesn't have the C on there anymore, it's just blank. There sometimes can be some small issues with this. So a lot of times I will just take a little point of that where that corner was, delete the table, go back to table, click the data link, click there, click OK, let it do its thing. You can see now it's completely formatted correctly, and it doesn't take very long to actually do this. It literally will take 2 minutes, if that. And then again, just select the table, make sure you're doing the page breaks. Again, it's going in the wrong direction. Let's go to the properties. Let's change this to left, and you're pretty much back to square one. So that will help you in a tremendous manner. You repeat the same process when you do other consultants' drawings. So again, we'll go to link data, create a new data link. This time it will be for structural. We'll click OK. Same things are going to pop up from last time. It's going to ask you to browse for the file. I'm going to browse, going to click open. I will, instead of using architectural, I will use structural. And once again, I'm going to go to the named print range instead of the entire sheet. So again, once again, you'll click OK. You're not going to see anything because what it's only doing is just linking in the data. It's not doing anything else. In order to see that data, you have to create a brand new table and select from a data link. And now go down to your drop-down menu to structural and click OK. Once again, it'll take just a minute or so at the most to just configure all the data, get it formatted in CAD. And once again, it's the same process. Just table break it, make sure you're selecting it to the left. There you go. So it's probably a little too far down, so we'll come down a little bit more and we'll go to the left. Now, there's some interesting things that are happening here. You can see what's happening is the rows are getting fatter because of the width of the column. There are ways to mitigate that. Right now, if you select this this row and you look at the properties of this, you may need to change the width of the row itself. So you can always do that by selecting. I think I have to come actually all the way over here. I'm sorry. Cell width. So right now the cell width is at almost 5.5 inches. If you say that cell width was 6 inches, that usually will fix things, but it still gives you this kind of weird piece here. I actually recommend you kind of mess with the cell widths here just because structural in this particular case was flirting with a lot of text that was really close to the edge, so you might have to change the cell width here to get that to work for you. So sometimes you got to do that and just kind of guess and make sure all the cells are somewhat the same, but you usually have this issue when you have very long descriptions of the sheet like we're showing here, but it's normally not that big of an issue. And then you save it. You'll have your sheet index ready to go. The beauty about doing this, once again, is that you have taken a lot of the work out of your hands. You're giving it back to structural, you're giving it back to MEP and landscape, and it also gives you a checklist of what to collate when you receive your drawings. So if you're expecting 20 sheets, for instance, from landscape and you only receive 19 PDFs, there's already a good red flag of that. Obviously, I'm accounting for 2 more extra pages for architectural, but if you take those out, I should be expecting 18 pages for my landscape architect, or I'm expecting for my MEP engineer 134 pages. And you can see these back of house numbers here, like some of these things are just understanding how many plumbing drawings there were, how many electrical drawings there were, and how many mechanical drawings were. But again, the beauty about this is that you can put this all in the back of house without this showing up on your table format. Um, and one last thing I did want to talk about is the use of this Excel sheet. Aside from using it as a CAD drawing index in CAD, you can start building off of this sheet index for your narratives. So imagine now that you've posted your CD documents and you need to work on your first ASI. So what I would normally do is tell you to start with ASI number 1 and go ahead and take that field, format it, maybe add a color to it potentially. A lot of times I'll say that's kind of green, which is the active version. Um, and let's say that there's been adjustment to the site plan, for instance. So I would write, site plan adjusted for transformer, whatever. Okay. One thing you don't want to do though, if you're doing this, you don't want to wrap the text. You want to just continue this as far as possible. You don't want to wrap this. If you wrap this, then the cell will start getting fatter. You want all your cells to be equal. If you do this, this cell will get bigger if you wrap this text. So you don't want to wrap text. Just let it go, let it do whatever. If you keep typing, just let it type to infinity and beyond. As long as, even if it gets covered up, that's fine. As long as it's one row. I just want to double check that you guys don't do that because it will affect the formatting of the table. So this is a really good tool, again, just to use and track changes throughout the entire project and write quick narratives about what's changed. Again, like I said, transformer updated, transformer pad location updated, door window, new door type added, right? And once that's issued, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll include this Excel sheet to issue with the client, so that this serves as a narrative, but also serves as a way to track all these changes. So I know this has got things all over the place here. I've got an A and B, but if you say this is delta 1, you're just kind of doing that really quickly, and that's delta 1. You can start filling out these deltas, the dates, and everything. And then once this is done, when you're going to go to your next ASI issue, you can again go to format cells, no color. You can say, all right, this is now my ASI number 2. Get the row a little bit wider for you so you can get the descriptions. Once you've done the descriptions, you can either hide this or minimize this. I mean, you can hide this here, and your next ASI 2 is ready to go, but it hasn't been lost. So you can always come back and unhide items here if you go unhide and see track the progress of the sheet, as for instance. So now ASI 2 in the site plan, which, again, drive updated with curve, something of that nature. You're getting a running log of the changes of all the sheets, not only for architectural, but potentially even for structural if you have to. I found this is a really good tool to supplement having to provide a formal narrative with things spelled out on a Word document, where this is just showing you the entire evolution of the sheets and the drawings, and it's worked out really, really well. So please use this. It's going to help you in the long term. Tom mentioned this during one of our TQM drawing conventions presentations, and I promise to help with that aspect. So thanks for watching, and we will talk to you guys next time.